Hello, everybody. You are on my yarn room couch with me. This is the room that I quarantined for, 6 weeks, I think. 4, 5, 6 weeks. I mean, I did come down occasionally, but with Clorox wipes in my hand so that no one else in the house would get sick. It was horrible. I still can't believe this happened. But I'm alive to tell the story, so I guess I have to have a lot of gratitude for that. Anyway, I think that much like a prisoner, I've grown more attached to my yarn room studio, which is, I've told you guys, upstairs in my house. So it's like a little perch. It feels like I'm in a little birdhouse up here because the windows face the front of the house. That's why I get to always watch all the neighbors, see what they're up to. Divorced couple across the street just got a divorce. Painful to watch. Other guy who has a Foo Fighters sticker on his car was an asshole to me the other day. He wasn't really an asshole, but he was not friendly at all. When I was being friendly to him, I smiled really sweetly and waved. And he, honest to God, looked like he growled at me. And I'm like, okay, dude, you're the one with the Foo Fighters sticker on your car. Which, by the way, when Taylor Hawkinson or Hawkins or whatever his name is died, I almost did this. I almost drew because, okay, so anyway, long story short, this guy has a Foo Fighters sticker on his car. That's the only thing I know about him. We call him Foo Fighters. And so he had lived here about 3 months, and then the drummer of the Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins, died, and I can't believe I didn't do this. My intention was to draw a really lovingly detailed portrait of Taylor Hawkins for Foo Fighters across the street and slip it, like either on his doorstep, like nicely packaged, or in his mailbox or something. And like anonymously, obviously, like just like he doesn't know me. I figured we would never know each other. I could tell he's got I have a fence up kind of personality. So we're never going to know each other. He's never going to know I'm an artist. I don't tell anybody what I am or who I do. Oh, whoa. Excuse me. Anyway, there's no way in hell he would ever find out that I did it. But I never did that. I thought it would be both funny and nice and really scary at the same time, which that's a good combo for me. That's the combo I love. Funny, sweet, and psychotic. That's kind of my whole thing. Anyway, I didn't do that. Then there was another guy, last name, I'm not going to tell you his full name, but oh my God, I swear I was just being haunted by a ghost. There was this weird noise, and I kind of flipped out on this recording. But I know I was talking about the neighbors. I don't know why. Oh, just because I'm up in my yarn studio / room. It's the coziest room. Let me know if you guys want to see a photo of it somehow. I'm thinking about starting to update things more often over on my website. And it might be like weekly images that are referenced on me reading stuff or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I don't want to be too ambitious about anything at the moment, but, I think that I don't want to share as much on, I know what it is. I have a steam iron on. Let me see. That's what it is. The noise was not a ghost. Everybody calm down. My steamer, which I was blocking some fiber stuff I was working on. I was blocking something. If you guys know what that is, you know what I'm talking about, why I have a steamer iron thing on. But anyway, God, I'm too distracted. You guys, I haven't talked a lot lately, and now I'm completely not doing a great job. I got a text from my friend the other day. What's up, Cecile? And Cecile said, I don't know how to, I can't believe I'm outing her on her text. Well, never mind. Long story short, we both agreed that we don't know how to even have a conversation with people anymore. And that is really true of me. I also met another neighbor the other day where I walk out to the mailbox, as I often do. This guy comes up, never seen him before. In fact, I thought he was walking past the mailbox. We all on this street have one mailbox area. And all of a sudden, he's coming right for the same place, and it's dark out, and we have no lights out at night. It really drives me crazy. I'm about to talk to the city about this, because it's scary. And this dude was like, I couldn't see him until he was like 5 feet away from me, and that is frightening. Anyway, we both kind of scared each other, and then we made a joke about it, and then he introduced himself, and I tried to have a conversation with this man, and he was he's like way nicer than most people in this area, like very friendly and sweet, talking to me about, immediately letting out information about his family and his kids, and one of them's in college and the other one's doing something else. And I instead of just going along with this, I just start lying about a lot of things. And I don't know where this came from, except that I've admitted on this podcast before. You guys have heard, if you've been listening long enough, you know that I have been caught in many lies in the past, because when I get nervous, I don't know why, but my default is to just make shit up, like immediately. I make up stories. I'm not proud of this. I'm mildly amused by it, because it's never anything it's not like I say, oh, that's so funny. That's like when I won an Academy Award in 1986. It's nothing outrageous. It's also not, I don't know what could be a horrible lie. Like, just something, I don't know. They're very benign lies. It's like this lie, I don't even want to tell you guys what the lie was, because it's embarrassing, but it wasn't a big deal. It's just that and nobody can catch me on these lies, really. They're just weird lies. And it's because I don't know how to communicate anymore with people, especially after being locked up here. Like, I think you really do, if you even just go to the store occasionally or walk down the street occasionally. It's a different thing. You get used to using your voice. And I didn't do that for so long that I'm very thrown off now that I'm, finally testing negative for COVID. Still totally have the symptoms, but not as bad. Which, by the way, a lot of you guys reached out. Hey, thank you guys. After I did my little update for you guys, I appreciate you guys reaching out and telling me you were happy that I was going to be back and glad I was okay and sorry I was sick. A couple of you guys asked about long COVID symptoms, and the main one that I have is just utter exhaustion. For instance, if I go and try to hang out and talk to Damien downstairs, it's like maybe 2 or 3 minutes and I have to sit down. I don't know if it's because of the lung function being different or what. It's also just, I'm just so like beyond tired. And this coming from somebody who I always say I was born tired. I've been tired every day of my life since birth. And it gets worse every year of my life. And I've got tons of autoimmune conditions, and I'm on a lot of drugs for those autoimmune conditions. So tired upon tired upon tired, and now long COVID tired, which is known to be one of the most tired. Do you guys hear this? That's the wheezing I've got going on right now. So it's just a mess. It's just a total mess. I don't know if I'll ever be able to have a conversation. I'm wondering how I'm doing here today. I think I'm doing horribly. I can't seem to stay focused. But anyway, I love my yarn room. I am like a prisoner. This is now my comfort zone. That's what I was trying to say. This room, which was my prison, is now just my favorite place on earth. And so it turns out Stockholm Syndrome is very real. And I'm experiencing it right now. All right, let me see what else we got to talk about. Give me a minute. Okay, we have a new segment here. I'm not sure what to call it. Something like, hey, help me, corner. Hey, literary scholars, what's up with this, corner? I'm confused, corner. Okay, here's the deal. I love Hafiz's poems. Great Persian poet, lyric poet. We all know him. We all love him, right? If you don't, look him up. Hafiz, also Hafez. All right. So I tend to pick up, I can't not buy a Hafiz book when I see one. So all of a sudden, I noticed that Penguin has all of these Hafiz books. Some of you may already know what I'm about to say. And they're beautiful. You know, when Penguin really goes all out for somebody, like they did with Proust back in the early 2000s, where each book is sort of linked to one another visually in some way, but it's also different. I mean, they're beautiful. If you look up the early 2000s Proust collection of In Remembrance of Lost Time, you'll see what I mean. So these looked like that. And here's what I read on the covers of the ones I saw. I think there's even more maybe, but A Year with Hafiz, Daily Contemplations. Already in. You give me a yearly book, like a daily, year-long book, I'm all about it. And I find there to be, too many self-help ones written like that, where you check in on the book every day. I think it's a beautiful way to be. In fact, I need to write one. Maybe that's something I need to do. Note to self. Like, what if I did, it's like me reading stuff, except it's just a new awesome thing every day for people to read. Okay, I'm on it. And it'll be crazy, by the way. I shouldn't be giving this idea out, or you guys are going to do it. Anyway. All right, so there's that one. Then there's Love Poems from God, 12 Sacred Voices from the East and West. Oh, okay, that one's not one of these, so never mind on that one. Although this is still questionable too. Okay, and then the other one, I Heard God Laughing, Poems of Hope and Joy, Renderings of Hafiz by Daniel Ladinsky. These are all Daniel Ladinsky, okay? So A Year with Hafiz says Daniel Ladinsky. Okay, so here's the deal, though, is that then when I got into these books, I started to look. I didn't look at Love Poems from God yet. I'm interested in it, and I guarantee this has the same suspect type thing going on. Well, anyway, I'm looking at these, and this Daniel Ladinsky, that word renderings of Hafiz basically means, hi, these are not Hafiz poems. These are my own version of how Hafiz writes a poem. And it made me really pissed off as I was reading it. And so I was wondering, it's almost like I wish this guy would have just written these poems and then called it a day and not even shouted out Hafiz, because they're that removed from Hafiz, really, but they have that style. So he stole the aesthetics of Hafiz and that kind of wild passion from Hafiz and just put the name Hafiz on there. And then everybody, long story short, I thought these were translations. And I was like, I don't have these translations. I don't know Daniel Ladinsky's translations. Let's get these. But now I have these 3 new books where I'm looking at them, and they're beautiful Penguin books, and I don't know what to feel. I mean, one of them I had marked as I really liked it, right? And I was skipping through. This is from I Heard God Laughing. This is on page 23. Someone should start laughing. I have 1,000 brilliant lies for the question, how are you? I have 1,000 brilliant lies for the question, what is God? If you think that the truth can be known from words, if you think that the sun and the ocean can pass through that tiny opening called the mouth, someone should start laughing. Someone should start wildly laughing now. Now that, in my estimation, is a great poem. So I'm just so confused. I read the beginnings. I'm still confused. That's the thing, is I've had these for a couple weeks now, and I'm looking at them and I'm reading them and I'm just complete. It's almost like the people, like Penguin, the way they even picked the blurbs are very tricky. Like, they don't say, these are not like they should, in my opinion, say, these are not translations of Hafiz. These are celebrations of the style of Hafiz, or something like that. Otherwise, this is false advertising. This is pissing me off. And I need to know what you guys think. So check it out, Daniel Ladinsky. Let me know. I mean, I think somewhere I read that he is a translator, but he didn't translate these. Then I read other criticisms of him online when I'm trying to figure this out. And a lot of the criticisms from actual translators said, this is all bullshit, is basically what they didn't say it like that, but they should have. It looks like my phone's about to shut off. So that's enough out of that. But I would love your thoughts. So get back to me at whatever my email address is. I've said it before and I will say it again. That's me in the background of my head thinking of just info@robinoneal.com. How's that? All right. Bye, guys. Okay. I've been threatening it for a long time, and maybe it's about to actually happen. I wanted to have like a month or so dedicated to Anything That I Love by Eliot Weinberger. I've talked about him endlessly on here. There's nothing quite like him. This is from New Directions Press. This is one of his books called An Elemental Thing. I don't want to go on and on and on and on, because again, I'm not a scholar or anything. All I know is that nothing gets me going, quite like Eliot Weinberger. And I've read from this book on the podcast before. I've read from other books. Every single thing I own by him, which is a lot, I love. And these are factual, these are kind of nonfiction books, but they're also poetry. They're also essay. It's very interesting. So in an elemental thing, there's one chapter called The Rhinoceros. It's sort of about the plight of the rhinoceros on this planet, the fear that they induce, and also the love. And this section is section 5, and I'm going to read it to you right now. Sorry about my voice. Can barely breathe. Oh, okay. In the British Library, there is a box of fragments and dust from a birch bark scroll buried 2,000 years ago on the Jalalabad plain, west of the Khyber Pass. It is the oldest known Buddhist text, written in the Gandharan language. Some of the chips contain only a single letter. Letter. That's my new way of saying letter, guys. But the scholars have pieced them together to reconstruct a sutra. Doing no violence to living things, not even a single one of them, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Affection comes from the company of people. Misery comes from affection. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. The old bamboo is entangled. The young shoot is unattached. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. A deer goes to eat where it wants to eat. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. Give up your children and your wives and your money. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. Everyone wants your attention. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. Two bright bangles on an arm clang. A single bangle is silent. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. A bird who has torn the net. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. Fire does not return to what it has burnt. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. A tiger is not alarmed by sounds in the forest. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. Cold and heat, hunger and thirst. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. With eyes cast down, wander alone like a rhinoceros. At home, anywhere, wander alone like a rhinoceros. There we go. I wish you could see the thrill, the joy, the awe on my face right now. Oh, God, Eliot Weinberger, where are you? How are you? Eliot Weinberger, I wish you nothing but the best in life. I wish you lots of cigarettes, because I know he still smokes. And I respect that. Whatever he's got to do to be this guy he is, I want him to do that. And again, that's found. So it's funny, I'm acting like he wrote it. But he kind of did. So let's face it. Although, what about that thing I brought up earlier about, what's his name? David Ladinsky? All right, guys. I'm going to hit pause and I'll come back and say goodbye. But, I wanted to tell you one thing before I do. This, as I'm reading this passage, which I don't know what my favorite part was. The one I had highlighted or underlined was the fire does not return to what it has burnt part. But this time around, I got really emotional about everyone wants your attention. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. And also a bird who has torn the net. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. I also like that line because it's written differently than the other ones. But anyway, speaking of wandering alone like a rhinoceros, I am getting on a train at some point very soon. Well, it's not very soon. It was a few months away, a couple months away, going across country on a train by myself in a private car with my own private bathroom. And this is a dream of mine that I've had since I was really a kid. And I grew up with my dad working for the railroad. He is a fascinating guy himself, kicking what they called hobos off of the train when he was like 17 or 18. And eventually, upon his retirement, He was vice president of real estate for the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad. So I grew up with trains on the brain, trains in the house, model trains, train emblems, train stationery, trains. And I love trains. Now, for Europeans and a lot of East Coasters, trains are common. And, I lived in Chicago. I took the L as well. And, I was always on the train when I lived in London. And so in some places it's, normal. I didn't love taking the train in Chicago. In fact, I hated every minute of it. I loved the convenience of it, but I had a thing with it. I mean, I'm a weirdo about public spaces and, just in general. I just don't really love being around a bunch of people, and there was always a bunch of people. So anyway, long story short, the cross-country leisurely journey in a train alone with books and a notebook, and that's about it. That is my dream. I remember when Amtrak for a while had that residency for writers, where they were giving writers residencies to travel across country and do whatever they wanted to do with that time. And I was really envious of people who did that, and I should have just applied, but I never would have given myself the time back then, And now, as we all know, I'm on sabbatical, 2023, what's up? And this is the time. And I couldn't be more thrilled to finally do this. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'm sure you guys will hear all about it after I'm done. But I think I'll be away for a little more than a week. And I'm going to do it again. This is not going to be the only time I do it. So look out. I may come visit you in your town, wherever you are, if you've got a train. I've got a little train so I'll start from my little town. And then I will make my way into Seattle and go out from there on a big, the Empire Builder is what it's called, which is a great name. These trains have great names. These very, I don't know what passenger trains? Passenger trains. So that's my story. I hope you guys are happy for me. I'm happy for me. It's exciting to not know what I'll be doing. I'm also going to tell you guys who I wrote my fan letter to. I had a couple of guesses. A lot of people guessed soap opera stars, which I loved that. Thank you, Molly, for your guess. But no, it's not that, although I've done a lot of those and never got a response, even though I included self-addressed stamped postcards. I made it easy on these guys, and they didn't respond to me, which really, really bummed me out. Well, one of them I have proof, actually, that they never received my package. So that guy I will forgive. Other people, I'm not so sure. By the way, I will put a link in the description for how you can how and where you can purchase Eliot Weinberger's An Elemental Thing and all of his other books. Just go to New Directions. Somebody told me that when I say New Directions, when I'm speaking of the, publishing company, New Directions, which is ndbooks.com. Anyway, apparently it sounds like I'm saying nude erections. And I don't think it does. But if you think it does, then you think it does. It's New Directions. So who I sent a fan letter to? Well, this person's name is Rajiv Surendra. Okay? Rajiv Surendra is from Canada originally, and he now lives in New York City. And he is a calligrapher, a very, very fine calligrapher, and among many other things. Now, I stumbled onto his videos on YouTube. I don't know how. Somehow, for the first time in the history of my life, I was algorithmically pushed something that I actually legitimately liked. When I saw Rajiv's first video, it was about how to make a harp. And he went to the leading harp maker in this country, which is in Chicago, and learned how to make a harp. He was learning a piece on the harp. He was learning a piece on the piano. He carves his own wood and makes all sorts of things. And the amount of anyway, I just got fascinated with this person. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, God, he's familiar to me. Like, do I know this guy? What is going on? I really feel like I know him. Well, that's because he plays Kevin Napur, a.k.a. Kevin G. from Mean Girls, if you've ever seen it. Hands down, the greatest character on that movie. The only person I really remember besides maybe a few, I can't remember her name, but yes, so you can see. And Tim Meadows. But Rajiv Surendra played Kevin G. And then he's also just really awesome artist. And he loves handwritten notes. He loves letter writing, and he loves, using the mail service. So he has his P.O. box up on his website or somewhere I found it, because he likes getting handwritten letters. So I wrote him. I took a lot of time and energy. Honestly, I took about 3 days, I think, if not more than that. Actually, I think it was a week of getting this letter ready. And this is the way that I used to do letters when I was younger and had more time, since I was always a pen pal with so many people ever since I was little. When I remember vividly hearing the term pen pal for the first time and learning in school we were going to have pen pals from another country or another state. And it's like my insides sung immediately. That was my thing. And I used to have this antique correspondence desk, and I collect, as you guys may know, I collect a lot of stationery and stamps and pens and pencils and the whole 9 yards. But I never give myself enough time. And this year is going to be a big year for letter writing for me. And I owe a lot of people letters, actually. That makes me feel very guilty. But that is the noise. By the way, do you like that noise? Hold on. I love that noise. That's the noise of this brass reading light that I have here. So anyway, I am very excited. Here's how I did it. First, got paper, wrote what I wanted to write. All right. That's not enough, because then you start thinking of more things and things you want to edit out. Okay. So then I think I did one more where I rewrote it. Then I put it, and then I typed it. Now, don't worry, I'm not sending a typed letter. I did handwrite it, but I had to look at it typed. This is overboard. I would not almost never do this anymore, but because Rajiv is a calligrapher and really into penmanship, and I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, so I just kept editing until I got the exact words I wanted to write, and then I handwrote it again as a draft. And then I picked out my paper. Now, I picked out very high quality paper. It was actually drawing, and it was watercolor paper. But I knew I wasn't going to make my own kind of drawing on it. I just knew it's something I collected at some point and then decided to not use. So it was perfect for this. So, I did hand-torn edges. I really went to town on this thing. And then I sketched out the 4-page letter as if it were a drawing. So, I kind of like it was like handmade one-off stationery from the desk of Robin O'Neill. But it looked really beautiful and had, a really I took my time, and there was a big landscape drawing at the top of it. And then there's a lot of marginalia and various things where I drew a train when I was talking about my train trip. And what else did I draw? I'm trying to think. Oh, I drew a compass rose, because I was talking about something I'm working on right now, which, did I tell you guys about this? I'm working on a map of a trip I went on with my family once. And then I'm going to make it into a little photo book. And that I'm very excited about as well. So there, I'm doing a map, not a technical map of the city we went to, but of the things we saw and where they were related to where we were staying. And each thing is represented by a drawing of what we saw there. Just a really fun, beautiful hand-drawn map. I keep referring to everything I'm doing as beautiful. You guys, this letter was beautiful. You guys, this rice I just ate was beautiful. Everything I do is just beautiful right now. Which I guess I shouldn't. That's a nice thing. If I do think something I did was beautiful, there's no shame in my game. And the letter to Rajiv was beautiful, and I hope he likes it. And then, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of things watercolored and drawn, and just kind of an endless amount of detail put into this thing. And then I included a lot of other little things, like a mini envelope with something else in it, and some printouts of something I wanted to show him with a little note on it. Then we got to the envelope, and the envelope was a whole other set of issues. And I even went and got special stamps, because I didn't want to make even the stamps. I knew which kind of stamps I wanted for him. So that was the fan letter. That was a really long-winded way to tell you guys who I wrote a fan letter to. This sounds a little psycho. Like, certain people wouldn't be able to handle this. Do you know what I mean? They would think, whoa, dude, what is this girl doing? This is too much for me. It almost is romantic in essence, right? But I'm a romantic kind of guy, and I think romance is much further than, like a love and a lust. Romance can be in anything, in everything. So in that sense, it is romantic. But, other people just can't. They just can't handle it. Rajiv can handle it. Go ahead and check out Rajiv Surendra's. I'll put a link in the description where you can find Rajiv's videos yourself. He's a nice guy. He's brought a lot of joy into my life. So anyway, that's Rajiv. Look into it, see what you think. Okay, well, I believe I've talked about everything I really wanted to this time around. I'm not sure how long this podcast will be, since it's a bit of a collage from the last few days, but it's good to be back. Thank you guys again for all your love. I'm definitely going to close out with some questions. You guys just missed the answer to one of my questions, which is going to be, what is your favorite sound? That's why I'm at your current favorite sound. We go through times of our lives where there's a sound that is more impactful than it is at other times. So always one of my favorite sounds used to be, this is very trite, and I don't care. It was, crunchy leaves under my feet, like the sound of crunching, like dry leaves in the fall or winter, and, sticks. Love that noise. And I would say it's gotten phased out a bit as my favorite noise, because I get to hear it so often now. Whereas before, when I lived in, say, Texas or California, you don't get a lot of that noise. And so it's something I think the love comes from the longing a lot of times. So that one is still a favorite sound, but it's so commonplace that I don't quite have that intensity towards it. And then my current favorite sound is something I experience all the time. And I feel like I just told you guys about this, so I apologize if I did, but it's the sound of the distant train that we have here in my little town. It's not that distant. It's pretty close to us, so I hear it all the time, and especially at night. It's just so, oh God, it's a glorious sound that, it's just a sound that's been the same for a long time. And I don't know. There's I can't really put words to it, but every time I hear it, which is why I'm asking you guys this question about your favorite sound right now, I just heard it as I sat down to record my goodbyes to you, and it made me think of that. So, and it also made me realize I haven't asked you guys questions lately. So we're going to close out with these questions. This favorite sound is number one. Another one I just asked my friend Stephanie, and I want to hear from you. Favorite potato chip. What is your favorite potato chip? I love a basic Ruffles. I love Ruffles. I love Doritos. I love a tortilla chip. But I think if I had to choose a favorite, gun to the head, it's going to be Ruffles. And I like dipping it in yellow mustard. Okay, what is your current morning drink? You guys know I love knowing this. And I actually really encourage you to let me know. Not on Instagram, but just email me. Don't expect anything back if you're just like answering the questions, but I may get back to you and I may not, but I really want to hear. So info@robinoneal.com again. And by the way, if you are communicating with me on Instagram, unless it's well, I don't think I'll see any of it really, but so just so you know, if you want to communicate with me, Instagram is not the way to go. You got to do it either through my website or my email. I did cave and just posted a few things on Instagram on the stories the other day, and I ended up feeling really like kind of gross about it. So, I posted and ran, which is how I do Instagram anyway. But if you're doing any DMs or anything, I just want you guys to know I don't see those. I don't open those anymore, really. So that's just an FYI. Favorite potato chip? Yeah, I'm going with Ruffles just because it never gets old to me. I mean, other ones I like chili cheese Fritos. I love Cheetos. I love, what else? Like I said, Doritos. I love a Cool Ranch Dorito. I love, in Canada and England, I love all of the crazy flavors. Like, it's not crazy, but ketchup, Worcestershire. I don't love like shrimp. I don't like that kind of flavor, but I love ketchup, Worcestershire, and I really love, why can't I not think of the one that I really like? It's like really, pickled onion, I think. Oh God, I wish, it's making my mouth is watering so seriously right now when I just thought of the pickled onion. I think that's the flavor I love the most. Okay. But I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about your favorite morning drink, right? And I just keep going back to the potato chip. I'm hungry. All I've eaten was an old-fashioned donut today and some coffee. And I went to the store and I got all of the stuff to make enchiladas today. They are both vegetarian. I'm going to make vegetarian for me and vegan for Damien. And I am kind of in love with my enchiladas. And I did grow up in Texas for the most part. So you better believe I know how to do this shit. Anyway, my morning drink is, when it's cold weather, it's always the same. When it's warm weather, it tends to be the same. So right now it's cold and I am drinking very strong decaf Americanos. And I've been able to put, still, I think I told you guys this before I got COVID, I am putting one shot of caffeinated espresso in the morning Americano. And it really changes the game for me, where it's not messing with my heart so far, which is great, which is why I can't have caffeine. So I'm kind of playing with fire, but the second it starts hurting me, then I'm going to go back. But anyway, it's been nice because I need any little bit of energy I can muster. For instance, today, speaking of, again, I'm sorry I keep going on and on about this, but my exhaustion is such that I slept in till about 10 a.m., even though I went to sleep I swear to God, I went to sleep at like 10 p.m. And then I immediately thought, oh man, I got to wash these sheets and pillowcases and all of that. So I put those in the washing machine, quickly got ready and left because I had to go get all the enchilada stuff. And, it was a big shopping day. It felt like I had a lot to get. And then I came home and I wanted to wash and, air dry all of the vegetables so that I've got mushrooms in there. You don't want to cook with wet mushrooms, like if you rinse them off or whatever. So I love it when I have time to let the vegetables dry on a big towel or whatever. So I did that, but there was a lot of I don't know. It took a long time what I was doing. There's a lot of vegetables here in the house. So I was getting them all ready. And anyway, long story short, right after I was done, I hadn't even had my first sip of coffee. And I'm like, well, it seems like I'm going to go back to bed. And that was about a half hour ago at about 12:15. So I'm just that tired. I'm sorry. I thought this was my goodbye on my questions. Favorite morning drink, Americanos for me. Well, it's the beginning of 2023, essentially, and I haven't asked you guys any end of the year question. Favorite memory of 2022? Frankie, what do you think? What's your favorite memory? Frankie's right here. She is making biscuits on the softest blanket in the house. Aren't you, Frankie? Okay, and who is someone you wish you could be more like? It could be somebody you know or not. Oh, my favorite memory of 2022? I'm going to have to think about these. I don't know if I have an answer for these. I always think of my friend Julie as who I want to be more like. She just always seems so together. You know how some people are just really together, but they're still really interesting? Because a lot of together people are boring, no offense. At least I think so. But Julie is not boring, and she is very together, and I like that about her. And she's very curious and intense about like learning, and she goes to a lot of lengths to learn things fully, I guess. It's fascinating to me. And sadly, I don't think I'm much like her at all. So that's too bad that that's who I want to be more like when I don't think there's a chance in hell that I could be. And there's like an inner confidence. I can tell with Julie. I also feel like people who got to go to camp as young people are more confident than I'll ever dream of being. And people with sisters are also... You guys with sisters are, or older siblings at all, really, are very fortunate, in my opinion. It really helps. I was an oldest child, and I didn't go to camp, and I don't have any sisters. And those three things, I think, have made me not so great. I just don't think they've done me any favors. I just noticed that when I meet women who had grown up with sisters, they're like almost... an entirely different animal than I am. I really do mean that. And my mom also didn't grow up with sisters. And I think we suffer because of that. Like, I barely wanted to read Little Women as a kid because I'm like, it's going to depress me too much to know that I don't have this. So that's my story. Morning glories. I love you guys. I think that's all I have for today. Be well, be good to yourself, be good to others. Remember, everybody's doing their best. Expectations are premeditated resentments. My Al-Anon birthday, which means I've been in Al-Anon for 10 years, is tomorrow, Monday, the whatever Monday is. And I can't tell you how that makes me feel. It's a very big deal. So happy birthday to me. I bought myself another little chip or whatever they're called. They're medallions. I get the medallions, and I bought it for myself. And so I have 10 of those beautiful medallions, and I am very happy. I can't tell you guys how different I feel 10 years later than when I first got into Al-Anon. So if you don't know about Al-Anon, check it out online or search the podcast for Al-Anon, and you'll see my story about Al-Anon. All right, that's all I've got. I love you guys. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.